Wendy's head appeared again. Your 3 o'clock is here. And Stephen? Whatever's in that drawer. Might want to move it somewhere else. You're starting to look like Gollum with his precious. Hey there, this is Patricia. My hands trembled slightly as I applied mascara, the 4th attempt at getting my right eye perfect. The family dinner loomed ahead like an oral exam I hadn't studied for, which was ridiculous, because after 5 years of dating Stephen, these gatherings should have felt routine. But lately, my mother's voice had taken on that particular tone. The one that made "How's Stephen" sound like, "Why aren't you engaged yet?" My phone buzzed. Speaking of mother dearest. Darling, don't forget to wear that blue dress I got you for Christmas. It makes you look bridal. I rolled my eyes, but caught myself smiling. Mom, it's just dinner. 5 years is a long time, sweetie. Your sister got engaged after 2. And there it was, this Sophie card. I ended the call with a promise to arrive early and help set the table, knowing full well I'd be at least 20 minutes late. In the mirror, I adjusted the neckline of my dress, not the blue one. I wasn't that obvious. At 32, I looked good. Great even. Successful marketing executive, own apartment, manageable student loans. But in my mother's eyes, I might as well have had "still not engaged" stamped across my forehead. The thing was, Stephen was perfect. Responsible without being boring, ambitious without being obsessed, and he actually listened when I talked about my day. He even remembered my coffee order. Oat milk latte with an extra shot and a dash of vanilla, but only on weekdays. Weekends were for regular lattes, because life needs balance. 3 months ago, at another family dinner, why did all disaster start at family dinners? Something inside me had snapped. Patricia, dear, my Aunt Susan had begun swirling her wine glass with the precision of someone about to deliver a verdict. You know what I heard? Emma's daughter. You remember Emma from my book club? Her daughter got engaged last weekend. Such a lovely proposal right there in Central Park. And they've only been dating for 18 months. I had felt the familiar pressure building behind my eyes. The same pressure that appeared every time someone mentioned engagements, weddings, or my cousin Linda's new baby. And then, like a champagne cork finally giving way, the words had just popped out. Actually, I heard myself say, Stephen and I are keeping a little secret. The table had gone quiet. Even my father had looked up from his phone. We're engaged. But we're keeping it quiet until we figure out the wedding details. You know how Stephen is. Always wanting everything perfect and organized. The lie had tasted strange on my tongue, like accidentally drinking someone else's coffee. But the effect? Pure magic. My mother had teared up. And Susan had actually squealed. And for the first time in years, nobody asked when I was planning to settle down. Now, 3 months later, checking my lipstick one last time, I tried to ignore the knot in my stomach. I'd managed to keep Stephen away from most family gatherings since then. Work commitments, a conveniently timed cold, his mother's birthday. But tonight was different. Tonight was the night I'd orchestrated to push things along, to turn my little lie into truth. My phone buzzed again. Stephen, on my way to pick you up. Your sister called me earlier. Sounded weird. Everything okay? My heart did a little skip. Sophie wasn't supposed to contact him yet. That wasn't part of the plan. I quickly typed back, all good. Probably just excited about dinner. See you soon. Red heart. I grabbed my bag, taking one final look in the mirror. The woman staring back looked polished, successful, and only slightly terrified. 5 years was a long time to wait. Sometimes things needed a little push, right? A gentle nudge toward the inevitable. It's practically true anyway. I whispered to my reflection the same words I'd been repeating like a mantra since that first lie. He loves me. I love him. We're practically engaged already. The doorbell rang. Stephen was early, as usual. Perfect, dependable Stephen, who believed in doing things the right way, at the right time, for the right reasons. I took a deep breath and reached for the door handle, pushing down the voice in my head that kept asking what I'd do if tonight didn't go according to plan. After all, what was the worst that could happen? Hey, Stephen here. The thing about planning the perfect proposal is that everyone has an opinion about what perfect means. Take my mother, for instance, who'd been texting me pictures of increasingly elaborate restaurant centerpieces for the past 3 months. Or my colleague Derek, who'd somehow turned into a proposal guru since orchestrating his own engagement via flash mob. Honestly, the man worked in corporate banking. Where did this performative streak come from? But what nobody tells you is how carrying a ring box in your desk drawer can turn you into a paranoid mess. I'd taken to checking the drawer at least 4 times a day, which was ridiculous because I had the only key and my office door had better security than most people's homes. Bank manager privileges. Still, there I was, between client meetings, making sure that 2 months' salary worth of platinum and diamond hadn't magically sprouted legs and wandered off. Everything okay in there, boss? My assistant Wendy's head appeared around the door, just as I was performing my afternoon ring check. You've been opening the drawer a lot lately. Should I be worried about our quarterly numbers? I slammed it shut so fast my pins rattled. Just organizing. Wendy raised an eyebrow in a way that said she wasn't buying it, but was too professional to say so. Right. Well, Patricia called. Again. Said something about dinner tonight with her family. My stomach did that thing it always did lately when Patricia's name came up, a weird mix of excitement and anxiety. She'd been acting different. Not bad different. Just Patricia on extra caffeine different. More calls during work hours. More canceled family gatherings. More conversations that started with, you know, I love you, right? The ring felt like it was burning through my drawer and into the building's foundation. I planned it all out, of course. Spreadsheets may or may not have been involved. They were 3 potential scenarios, each with contingency plans for weather, traffic, and Patricia's unpredictable food allergies. The last thing I needed was our big moment ruined because someone garnished the plate with hidden mango. My phone buzzed. Mom again. Sweetie, about that ring shopping we discussed. Mom, I told you, I've already. I know. But I was thinking your grandmother's ring is beautiful and traditional and perfect for someone else. I pinched the bridge of my nose. I know Patricia. She needs something that's just her. The ring in my drawer wasn't just a ring. It was the result of 3 months' research, 7 jewelry store visits, and 1 very intense conversation with a gemologist who kept using words like inclusion and clarity until I felt like I was buying a diamond or adopting a philosophy. Patricia was worth every second of it. Though lately, I pushed away the nagging feeling that had been growing stronger. The way she dodged questions about her family. The sudden cancellation of Sunday brunches that had been our tradition for 4 years. The hushed phone conversations that stopped when I entered the room. Pre-proposal nerves. That's all it was. Had to be. My phone buzzed again. Patricia's sister Sophie this time. Weird. We weren't exactly calling each other randomly close. Stephen, about tonight's dinner. Yeah, Patricia mentioned it. Everything okay? You sound, oh yes, fine. Totally fine. Just checking you're coming. It's important. Like really important. Like, life-changing important. But no pressure. Okay, bye. She hung up before I could respond. I stare at my phone, that nagging feeling growing stronger. Something was off. The same something that had been off for weeks now. I opened my drawer again. The ring box sat there, innocent as ever. Inside was the perfect ring for the perfect moment, a moment I'd planned down to the smallest detail. Because that's what you do when you love someone for 5 years. You plan. You prepare. You wait for the right time. So why did it feel like I was missing something? Wendy's head appeared again. Your 3 o'clock is here. And Stephen? Whatever's in that drawer. Might want to move it somewhere else. You're starting to look like Gollum with his precious. I closed the drawer. Slowly this time. Tonight was just another family dinner. Nothing life-changing about it. I watched Stephen settle into casual conversation with my father about the latest market trends, looking perfectly at ease in my parents' living room. He had no idea. The thought made my stomach twist. My mother was already dropping hints, floating between the living room and kitchen with unnecessary appetizers. Stephen, dear, try these stuffed mushrooms. They're from that caterer I was telling Patricia about, the one who specializes in wedding receptions. I nearly dropped the wine glass I was holding. Too soon, Mom. Too soon. In the kitchen, Sophie was practicing her lines under her breath while arranging dessert plates. So, Stephen, about the engagement. She caught my eye. This is your last chance to back out, you know? But backing out wasn't an option anymore. Not with Aunt Susan due to arrive any minute, already armed with venue suggestions. Not with Mom's friend Marion coming specifically to discuss her son's recent wedding. Not with the weight of 3 months of hints and secrets pressing down on my shoulders. I checked my phone. 3 messages from cousins asking if tonight was the night. 2 from friends demanding immediate updates. 1 from my grandmother asking about family heirloom rings. The doorbell chimed again. Aunt Susan, right on schedule, clutching what looked suspiciously like a wedding planner. Patricia, darling. She air-kissed both my cheeks. I brought some materials to discuss after dinner. Just some ideas, nothing too pressing. From the living room, I could hear Stephen laughing at one of Dad's terrible jokes. So comfortable. So unsuspecting. The sound made my chest tight. Mom appeared with more appetizers. Dinner in 5 minutes, everyone. Patricia, help me with the place cards. Place cards. As if we needed place cards for a family dinner. But I had insisted. Everything had to be perfect. Stephen needed to sit directly across from Sophie for maximum impact when she asked the question. You're looking a bit pale, dear, Mom whispered, adjusting a place card. Everything all right? Fine, I lied, adding it to my growing collection of untruths. Just hungry. The timer dinged in the kitchen. Dinner was ready. My carefully orchestrated moment was about to begin, and suddenly all I wanted was to run upstairs and hide in my old bedroom like I used to during high school disasters. But it was too late for that now. I'd set this elaborate machine in motion, and now all I could do was watch it run its course. Dinner's ready, Mom called cheerfully. I took one last, steadying breath and headed for the dining room. Stephen caught my eye and smiled. That warm, trusting smile I'd fallen in love with 5 years ago. The smile I might never see again after tonight. It's funny how your entire world can shift during a family dinner. 1 minute you're debating the merits of municipal bonds with your future father-in-law, hopefully, and the next you're discovering that your girlfriend of 5 years has been playing improv theater with your life. So Stephen, Sophie said, her voice oddly pitched, like someone reading from a teleprompter for the first time. About your engagement. I looked up in shock. My engagement? The silence that followed was the kind that makes dental drills sound soothing. Patricia's fork clattered against her plate, the sound that seemed to echo through the dining room like a gunshot. Your engagement, dear? Patricia's mother beamed. Though I must say, keeping it secret was a bit unfair to the family. I felt my brain short-circuit. My what? Oh, you don't have to pretend anymore. And Susan chimed in, actually pulling out what appeared to be a wedding planner from her oversized bag. Patricia told us months ago. Though I must say, making her keep it quiet for so long, my gaze locked onto Patricia. She was staring at her plate as if it held the secrets of the universe, her face draining of color faster than a summer tan in December. Patricia? My voice sounded strange to my own ears. What were they talking about? She started, then stopped. Her hands were shaking. We've been so excited, her mother continued, oblivious to the growing tension. And Mary and son just got married at this lovely venue. There must be some mistake, I heard myself say, though the pieces were already falling into place. The canceled family gatherings, the hushed phone calls, the way she'd been avoiding joint family events. Patricia and I aren't engaged. Another silence, heavier than the first. But her mother's voice faltered. She told us 3 months ago. I looked around the table, really looked. The convenient presence of a wedding planner. The carefully timed questions. This wasn't just a dinner. This was an ambush. This whole evening, I said slowly, the realization dawning. This was a setup, wasn't it? Patricia's eyes finally met mine, pleading. Stephen, please. You didn't just lie to them about being engaged. You orchestrated this entire dinner to force me into making your lie true. Each word felt like ice. The wedding planner, your mother's friend with venue suggestions. All carefully arranged to what? Pressure me? Embarrass me into proposing? I just thought. Patricia's voice cracked. Everyone was expecting it, and I thought if we were all here, that I'd be too embarrassed to say no. Trapped by social pressure to contradict you. The betrayal cut deeper with each revelation. You didn't just tell a lie, Patricia. You created an entire scheme to manipulate me into marriage. Stephen, please don't go, she pleaded as I stood up. It was a mistake. I'll fix it. I looked at her family's shocked faces, at the elaborate dinner setup, at the wedding planner still open on the table. 5 years of trust, shattered by not only a lie, but also a calculated manipulation. I walked out into the night, leaving behind the sounds of her crying and her mother's confused questions. The truth about love wasn't in grand gestures or forced moments. It was about trust, respect, honesty. And tonight we'd lost all 3. I ran after him into the cold night air, my heels clicking against the driveway in a frantic rhythm. Stephen, wait. Please. He stopped but didn't turn around. The streetlight cast his shadow long and dark between us. I know I messed up. I know I shouldn't have lied. But we've been together for 5 years and I just what? He turned then, and I barely recognized his voice. Just decided to orchestrate an entire evening to force me into marriage. That's not. But it was. Of course it was. The weight of my manipulation settled over me like a lead blanket. I was scared. Of what? Of waiting forever. Of never being enough. Of watching everyone else move forward while we just stayed the same. The words tumbled out, each one making me sound more pathetic than the last. He laughed, a harsh sound that scraped against my ears. You want to know the real irony, Patricia? I stood there, tears running, waiting for whatever final blow was coming. I signed the lease on a new apartment last week. Top floor, corner unit, with that view of the park you always wanted. He reached into his pocket and pulled out his keyring. A single new key glinted under the streetlight. I was going to surprise you next weekend. Take you to see our future home. Our future home. The words hit me like physical blows. But that's not even the best part. He reached for his phone, thumbed through it, then held it up. On the screen was a photo of a ring. Perfect. Exactly what I would have chosen. It's sitting in my desk drawer at work. Has been for 2 months. I was planning everything. The proposal, our future, all of it. I felt my knees go weak. Stephen. But you couldn't wait, could you? Couldn't trust me to do this right. Instead, you lied to everyone and tried to force my hand. From inside, I could hear my mother's voice, high and confused, asking Dad what was happening. The sound of Sophie trying to usher Aunt Susan and her wedding planner out the back door. I'll tell them the truth, I whispered. I'll fix this. That's not the point. His composure finally cracked. The point is you did this at all. The lying, the manipulation. Who are you? Because the Patricia I thought I knew, the one I was planning to propose to, would never do this. I reached for him, but he stepped back. The distance between us felt infinite. Go back inside, he said quietly. Tell them whatever you want. Tell them I'm a commitment phobe. Tell them I led you on. I don't care anymore. Stephen, please. 5 years. 5 years I thought I knew you. He pulled out his phone again, looked at the ring photo one last time, then deliberately deleted it. Guess we were both wrong. I watched him walk to his car, each step taking him further from our future. Back inside, I could hear my mother starting to cry, my father's low voice trying to comfort her. Sophie appeared in the doorway. Pat? You okay? I stared at the spot where Stephen's car had been, thinking about the ring sitting in his desk drawer. The apartment with the park view. The future I'd just destroyed because I couldn't trust in his timing. No, I said finally. I really messed up, didn't I? Sophie wrapped an arm around my shoulders. Yeah, you did. But you'll survive. Maybe. But as I walked back into the house to face my family, to admit to my lies and manipulation, I wondered if surviving was enough. Because I hadn't just lost Stephen tonight. I'd lost myself somewhere along the way too. And that might be the hardest thing to fix of all.